Hello, welcome to the Friday night chill stream of Calls. We are going to dig into a lot of the data surrounding the Century Tournament of Champions. We're going to also look at the field for the Sony Open. It is out on PGAtour.com, so we'll take a quick look at that, see who's in the field and whatnot. I don't think Fantasy National has the field loaded yet for the Sony. But it's going to be a little difficult, especially here at the start of the show, to do much in terms of showdown content with the second round still being played at the Century Tournament of Champions. So we're just going to hang out for a little bit. I've actually got the tournament on over here to the side. Might give some commentary or whatnot, but you see here on your screen, I've gotten as much data collected as I can in preparation for trying to find some optimal lineups. So let me go ahead and get everything situated here, but thanks for tuning in on this Friday evening. Hope your week has went well, and if not, hopefully the weekend will be better, and that's what we're here for, to try to win some money for the weekend. Which, speaking of, how are your lineups doing for the Tournament of Champions? Mine are okay. I'm curious to hear how much Xander you had. Did you completely fade him with the news that came out late on Wednesday evening after I was live, in which he withdrew from the Pro-Am? If you have not seen, Xander has withdrawn today from the Tournament of Champions. I'm not sure how many holes he played in his second round. He actually might have finished his second round, but he has withdrawn from the tournament. I've only got him down here for when I collect all the stats, and then I'll just remove him after I collect everything. But how much Xander do you have? How are your lineups looking? Did you take Colin Morikawa, like I mentioned that I was very high on? Have you stayed away from Cam Young, Chad Ramey, all of these players that I wasn't too terribly high on? So would love to hear how your week is going in that regard. So like I mentioned, let me get everything all situated here. I have got a couple of spreadsheets open. This will look familiar, however it is different than even from Wednesday night when I did the DFS Tactics show. I've went ahead and kind of done a lot of pre-work in my massive comparison course file. So I've already deleted the 5th year back. I mention every week that I only keep 5 years of data. That way that file doesn't get too big. So you'll see Justin Thomas, John Rahm, they only have 4 years. Cantley only has 3. 2 players actually dropped out since they played the Tournament of Champions 5 years ago, one of them being Brian Harman. Russell Henley was the other. So these stats will look different or are different from Wednesday night, but I still wanted to bring this information over to see some historic performances at Kapalua. So we'll also be looking at that when we try to figure out who are some optimal plays for our weekend lineups. And then lastly, you'll hear some music in the background. If I am sitting here in silence, I would go batshit insane. So I'm going to have a little bit of music going, and I'm sure the second regular over at Twitch will make her presence known eventually as well. But Awaken, thanks for jumping in chat. I played Rom, Brim, and JJ Spawn. Well, I tell you what, or you played Ryan Brim and JJ Spawn. Well, I'll tell you what, I'm going to give you a pretty solid grade. That JJ Spawn pick looks very, very solid right now. I wasn't anywhere near him. And then I started to consider him after the show Wednesday night. Didn't end up using him But that was a pretty darn solid recommendation or um, shout out, if you will. Ryan Brim, on the other hand, although I haven't seen what he has done lately, I know at the beginning of his round it wasn't terribly fantastic. But I hope you were playing some John Rahm and Colin Morikawa. I have been pretty happy with those recommendations. However, Max Homa hasn't done all that well, and I was pretty high on him. But yeah, JJ Spawn -3 today, 12 total. I'll tell you what, that was a fantastic shout out. However, I do have to knock you a little bit. You did also mention Sam Burns, and I wasn't high on Sam Burns, and he had a really bad day today. So, good and bad. JT needs to go low. Well, when he double bogeys, what was it, 14? Was it 14 or 15 he double bogeyed coming in? It's not going to help. Okay, so it was 12. Yeah. The big downhill par 4, he just sprayed it left. He had trouble all day today going left with his driver. So something curious to look for in terms of JT, especially moving forward. If he's going to be wayward, then but I mean, Luke List, I was nowhere near. He goes -8 today, but Colin Morikawa didn't play Burns, but I have him. I mean, Sung Jae was so damn popular. I stayed completely away from Sung Jae. Looks like he's doing okay, I suppose. Middle of the pack, but the wind did pick up today, so you might be able to see some of the tabs here. So I've got Fantasy National up. There's the leaderboard. Also got Wind Finder up for whenever we really start digging into a lot of the stats. But I think the first thing I want to do, actually, is I want to take a look at the Sony Open field for next week, especially since Fantasy National is going to be continuing to update their strokes gained numbers, and we don't have prices for, say, round 3 or weekend golf. We can just take a quick look at the Sony Open and see what we're looking at for next week, if we have any strong inclinations early on in the weekend. Spieth going low today. I mean, he went low yesterday. I thought yesterday was a bit of an outlier since he chipped in on a hole. He generally just kind of overperformed his metrics, and yet he's tied for second, -6 again today. So he's just having a good week. Anyway, so let's take a look here at the Sony Open field. Just kind of get a gauge, just kind of meander our way through here. You have Christian Bezuidenhout. Keegan Bradley is confirmed to play next week. Somebody I am very, very high on this year, Hayden Buckley. I think this could be a good jump-off point for Hayden Buckley. Let's see, Corey Connors. So there's 2 players coming over from the Tournament of Champions. If you've followed me much at all throughout this, say, Christmas break, winter break, whatever, you know how high I am on Cam Davis. He's making his 2023 calendar year debut here at the Sony. So excited for that. Harris English, always interesting to see if he is fully recovered. Because if he is, he's going to be severely underpriced for a few tournaments until the market catches back up and realizes his health. Ben Griffin, somebody else, who had a monster fall. See how he follows up a very successful first 3 months on the PGA Tour. Emiliano Grillo, Brian Harmon coming from Kapalua as well. This does feel like a Brian Harmon course. Not a lot of distances needed. So interesting there. Russell Henley, Billy Horschel, who's just not having a tournament of champions at all. Tom Hoagie, Mackenzie Hughes. Interesting to see Mark Hubbard. Mark Hubbard was injured in the fall and is now, the last time we saw him, I believe was at Houston, he was DQ'd, but he was limping around and he's already back to playing at the Sony. So I'm interested to see Mark Hubbard here. Sung Jae, looks like the complete family law firm of Kims, including Tom Kim, who is going to play back-to-back weeks in Hawaii. KH Lee. So you got quite a few of these Tournament of Champions players continuing to play, which I think is a good thing for the PGA Tour. A lot of times, if the players played in the Tournament of Champions, they might have taken the Sony week off. It's understandable, perhaps to be with family, vacation with family in Hawaii, all that stuff. But, specifically for the PGA Tour to have a lot of these players that are playing in Kapalua and then play the next week at Sony is a good thing. Hideki, who has actually won the Sony, he's completed the Hawaii double in the same year, winning Kapalua and Waialae. Don't think that's going to happen this year, although, Hideki has been playing okay. I mentioned Wednesday night that he was interesting. I wasn't going to take him with all the threat of, withdrawals and putting and all that stuff, but hey, he's playing well. Taylor Montgomery is here. Let's see what else we have. JT Poston's going to play. Chad Ramey, Ches Reavie. Two players, one player I'm really, really high on as well is Patrick Rogers, Aaron Rye. Alex Smalley, Webb Simpson, kind of like Harris English, see if the health's here. Jordan Spieth's going to play the Hawaii double. Svensson playing the Hawaiian double. So, interesting stuff here. So, pretty solid field for the Sony, it looks like, which is good. It's a good thing for the PGA. I like it. So, we can take a look at some of that stuff a little bit later if there's enough interest. But like I said, I'm just kind of killing a little bit of time before round 2 ends up at Kapalua. While we're in that process of killing time, let's take a look at the forecast for this weekend, and particularly tomorrow. We saw that there's the second regular to the stream announcing her presence. You saw the wind picked up a little bit today, and it's supposed to continue to pick up into tomorrow. Steady mile an hour of 15, and then gusts. I would venture to say gusts could get up into the 20s. Would not be surprised, but again, just a beautiful day for golf. Mid 70s for a high, and then Sunday looks perfect. However, if this system, I say system, but if this wind does come into play on Sunday, will make it somewhat interesting for sure. But I don't see Sunday being a major factor in terms of wind. So, apologies. Let me set up my chat settings here. So that is why I have brought over wind metrics when we start diving into it. Of course, we'll have to go out into DraftKings, or at least I'm going to go to DraftKings. It's where I play, get those prices. But Awaken, how have your lineups overall played? You mentioned that you had played Brim And Spawn was not very widely owned, and I know Brim was less than 1%, probably for good reason. You mentioned that JT needs to go low. He wasn't nearly as widely owned as I thought he was going to be. So, I'm curious to hear how much or how your lineups are doing. How much Xander did you play? Considering the news that I didn't see until after my show Wednesday evening about him withdrawing from the Pro-Am. And I still ended up playing Xander, much to my chagrin now that he is withdrawn. So would be curious to hear how your lineups are doing and how much Xander you ended up playing. But not a whole lot to do here in Fantasy National just yet. Again, we are waiting for the round to finish, but we can get a gauge of who has played well up to this point, but nothing in particular that we can do specifically until the round is over. I mean, even some of the players that have finished their approach and putting and all that, those kind of numbers will change throughout the rest of the day with everybody finishing up. But somebody like Patrick Cantley is somebody that I'm going to be avoiding. The number one putter, and he's still been struggling. His putting has been saving him lately, and he's still very, very far back. Svensson is now the worst putter in the field this week. So I would think that would increase or improve, because he's been hitting his irons wonderfully. Granted, this is his first time here, and these greens are tricky. They are not easy to read, so that's why a lot of first-time players struggle here. Sepp Straka is struggling. Now, Sam Burns, even though he is the best putter on Bermuda, he has not had a good week by Sam Burns' standards on these Bermuda greens. Even though he is ranked 8th, he is generally the best putter on Bermuda, so he has not had a good week at all. I mean, he is the worst iron player at the moment this week. He has not been good around the green. He's been bad off the tee. I mean, Sam Burns has just not played well either. You mentioned Justin Thomas needing to go low. Like, this doesn't surprise me, seeing him, especially today, really, really spray it everywhere. I'm going to look at just round 2 and see what he did off the tee just round 2, because it couldn't have been good. Justin Thomas, where'd he go? Yeah, 37. Yeah, he was the second to lowest, essentially, with Xander withdrawing. Sepp Straka was really bad off the tee. Again, no surprise. Although he was the number 1 iron player today. Interesting. So that's why I am a big advocate of Fantasy National. It's just, you're able to grab all of this information, break it out round by round. All of this at your disposal if you're a member over at Fantasy National. Round of par stats in the tournament. This is just for round 2. Taking a look at all rounds. Birdies gained, I suppose. See, there's the issue here. Victor is doing fine with birdie. I mean, he's tied number 1 in birdies gained, but he's not. You know, he's offsetting those with bogeys. That's not going to do it here. It's not going to do it here. Number 1, bogey avoider, Colin Morikawa. Makes sense. Leading in eagles, Tom Kim and Jordan Spieth. Okay. Yep. So like I said, not too much to do there in terms of in tournament stats, but if there's anything that you would like to see in Fantasy National before I grab what I normally grab, put it in chat. I'd be more than happy to show that to you. Or if there's something outside of Fantasy National, say in a spreadsheet or whatever. Like I said, I have the tournament on over here on another monitor, but I'll just have the leaderboard up here for you all. Luke List going low today. Spawn, Tom Kim. Scotty Scheffler surprising me a little bit. He played extremely well yesterday, continuing that trend today. Rahm got off to a horrendous start today. Bogey start, and has moved it now to -1 on the day. This back part of the course is absolutely gettable. Absolutely. Now 13 has been the toughest hole today, but then you know 15th, 16th, 10th, and 17th easiest. So the 3 of the 4 easiest holes are, you know, in the last 5. And really the toughest hole, once you get past the 13th, I mean the 16th is, you know, it's not difficult. It's not a cakewalk, but it's not difficult either. So if you can make it through the front 9, I would say in, you know, 1 or 2 under, because this course is easy, then, you know, you set yourself up to have a really, really good day on, you know, going through the back 9. Kind of like what Colin Morikawa did yesterday. Morikawa just went gangbusters yesterday on the back 9. I mean, for a while there, you thought he might birdie every single one of the back 9 holes. I mean, he's just incredible. But he's having a solid day, -5 through 11. Looks like he's got about a 6-footer for par on 12. Okay. For those that are interested, these are the lineups that I decided to submit and play in my contests, and a lot of them are, well, half of them are basically shot now. I was not afraid of Xander, and I should have been. I was at my computer basically all morning Thursday trying to get updates, see if he was going to play, if he was going to withdraw, all that stuff, and then ends up playing. So I fired him up. So he's tanking this lineup with Morikawa. Let's see. Stop. He's tanking this lineup with Rahm. Although Vincent hasn't played too well either, so that's been one of my struggles this week. Vincent hasn't played nearly as well as I thought he would. Power has played very well, which I've been very, very happy with, considering I have him and Homa in 4 lineups, 4 of the 6. I wanted to get Rahm in a 4th, but I mean, with his price, it was just so difficult. Homa just kind of fell into that nice little pocket of range of money where, you know, it was him or Victor, and Victor was a little bit dicey for me. I was high on him, but I could absolutely see a scenario where he didn't play well. So I leaned more Homa just because he had, you know, solid stats. He wasn't elite really at a lot of things, but he wasn't bad at anything either. Let's see. But like I mentioned, feel free to jump in chat, talk about whatever you're wanting to get off your chest or put out there. Just killing time until the round finishes up, and we can go on into our analysis of weekend showdown. Hey James, how are you? How are the lineups? Well, I was just going through that. Give me one moment. Let me kind of reset my settings here for chat. Half of them are shot. I was not scared of Xander. So all Thursday morning I sat in front of the computer trying to get updates on whether Xander was going to play or withdraw or anything like that. Since I didn't see any news, I decided to fire him up. I thought he would at least be serviceable. And he is going to tank 3 of my lineups because he is full out withdrawn now from the tournament. Did I start this stream right at 8? I'm probably going to make it 9 p.m. moving forward, just because there's not a lot that I can do right now until the round ends, especially, you know, with them over in Hawaii. We're just kind of sitting here chilling and killing time. So I'll probably make it 9 p.m. Moving forward, and it'll make it consistent with all of my other YouTube shows and streams and whatnot. But there are the 6 lineups that I decided to submit. This one's actually really, really good. Morikawa, who I was very, very high on this week, talked about him quite a bit, especially on Wednesday. Combining him and Rahm and Seamus Power has been stellar. So this lineup alone is carrying all of these others. I mean, it's going to have to with, you know, these 3 essentially shot. But the good thing is I did put this lineup in the big, you know, Millie Maker or whatever it's called, the opening whatever, the $600,000 total prize. So this lineup's doing well. This lineup's doing well. I would like Svensson to get it going a little bit, because he was pretty unique. It would be nice if I could get Henley going a little bit. No, I haven't. I'm going to whenever the round ends, which, you know, we might have another hour or so, maybe a little bit more. So I won't be able to do any pricing or anything until all that stuff comes out. Um, but a lot of the things that I was mentioning on Wednesday night have kind of come to fruition, with the exception of Zinsen. He has not played well, but I was completely out on Ches and Billy and Chad Ramey, except Straka, although he had a decent day today. Like, to me, playing Sungjae has been a falter, and that's why when I said, I'm going to full fade Sungjae just because I know he's going to be so popular, looks like it's working out in my favor so far. Are going through discuss Showdown for tomorrow? We will. We absolutely will, Awaken. Like I said, it's admittedly on my end, pretty poor planning when I said 8. I had just been doing Friday night streams at 8. I needed to move it to 9, but I figured we could just sit and chat for a little bit. Because the thing is with what I do, particularly around in tournament stuff like Showdown, I like to see who's been playing well, and we can get a little bit of an idea, but I would like to have the round finished so we can completely analyze the who's putt well, who's not putt well, all that stuff. So like right here, I can tell you right now, Colin Morikawa has completely overperformed his putting. He's number 1 in strokes gained putting so far, and what's he usually? He is 36. So he's 35 places higher putting. That's just telling you that he's having a good putting week. But if you're asking me in terms of Showdown, all things being considered, I bet you Colin Morikawa does not putt as well, and he would be a good fade candidate. So it's things like that I like to have the complete picture of, and of course we won't have that until the round ends. So no worries, we absolutely will be doing Showdown content, and Friday night I'm generally on for a while. It's not just an hour stream, it goes. I've been on as long as 11:30, and I'll be on as long as people have questions or want advice or anything. Like I said, it's Friday night, relaxing, listening to music, and talking some golf, talking some analytics. Let's see some other, to me it is surprising to see Scotty Scheffler up here so high, and yet he has not putt well at all, at least according to Fantasy National. He's 34th, and yet he's minus 11 for the tournament. Which normally he is 27th. So he's underperforming a little bit, but maybe not by as much as I thought. Something that I guess we can look at, because these numbers that I've got here won't change. These are kind of like the baseline. So this was their 2022 performance in the wind. This is their 2022 off the tee numbers when it was easy, etc. So especially for tomorrow, if you're playing some round 3 Showdown, and I saw your question, James, I got to talking, and I don't think I ever answered it. The wind looks like it'll be a factor tomorrow. Here's the forecast. Mid-teens in terms of steady wind, but a pleasant day overall. Now Sunday looks to be pure. Sunday looks fabulous. I mean, if this wind moves in Sunday, if this wind on Monday moves into Sunday, then it'll be interesting. But, tomorrow does look a little bit windy, and you saw the wind pick up today a little bit there, and that's why scores generally were a little bit higher today. So the wind absolutely looks like to be a little bit of a factor tomorrow. So in that regard, some players that are not good in the wind. Svensson, who I've been really high on this week, so perhaps that is a contributing factor to why he's struggling. Although it wasn't windy Thursday, and he didn't play the best. Colin Morikawa generally is not the best in the wind, although he's doing fine today. Be interested to see how JJ Spawn does, although again he is playing well today. Justin Thomas is the number one player in the wind, or at least he was in 2022. John Rahm, Tony Finau. Will Zalatoris has played well in the wind. Is the Excel data, is it large enough, or do I need to zoom in even more? Which, speaking of some of these players, I want to see how, like Fitzpatrick. To me, I was nowhere near Fitzpatrick, and he played extremely well yesterday. He's backing it up again today. So, wrong on Fitzpatrick. Harman's played well. Poston and Seamus Power have played well, which, I've been high on Seamus Power all week. So, I think it was you, Awaken, that asked about Adam Scott versus Russell Henley. Right now, they're one shot apart, and Scott is winning in that one. The tournament is on ESPN Plus, yes. It's also on Golf Channel late, but it is on ESPN Plus. So right now, it looks like I am slightly incorrect on the Henley versus Adam Scott. I mean, yes, there are still 2 days left, but for 2 days, it looks like I'm incorrect on Scott versus Henley. Zalatoris has played well. Tony Finau, -2 today, so he's playing fine. Yeah, Sungjae +1. Victor at even. So, him going -6 yesterday, I was thinking it was going to be pretty good. Thought I was onto something. It looks like he's stuck in neutral today. Look at all the bogeys. Goodness gracious. No wonder he's the worst at pars gained. How many? He has as many pars as he does birdies and everything else on this card. Goodness gracious. Okay. And then the back nine. He's really kicked it in gear in the back nine. Okay. And he's got the 18th to go, so he might finish -1 today. I'm going to pull up DraftKings over here off to the side. So I will not have chat up for a second as I see if they have any of those contests put in. So I see I do see the contests there. Alright, so the contests are out there. So let me grab this information and I can at least go ahead and start getting the salaries in here. disarray. All right. And fits. All right. Don't forget that Xander has withdrawn. I will delete his row when I gather all of the statistics, but Xander has withdrawn. Do you say why Sung Jae is playing poorly today? No, I haven't. I just know that he is. He's +1 today. He might have finished even. He might have birdied 18. Yeah, or he just got through birdieing 15, it looks like. And he has a chance to play, to perhaps shoot 1 or 2 under, especially 1 under, because he still has 18 to play, but he's even par for the day, which, you know, Sung Jae being so widely owned, it looks to be a benefit to me, since I full faded him. But let's take a look at Sung Jae. We'll go here. Round 2. Let's just take a look and see what's going on today. Yeah, so this is it's a hole behind, so he is, you know, -7 through 15 now. Boy, he is the worst player off the tee. So that tells you a whole lot, probably. And he's 35th in putting. He's lost nearly 2 strokes on the green today through 14 holes. I imagine he probably gained some of that back because he just birdied. But it looks like he is just not putting. And this is why I will always, always, always emphasize iron play. Because putting can come and go from round to round, week to week, tournament to tournament, year to year. So the field's not going to. It is no cut. You are correct, James. It is a no cut event. So even though Xander has withdrawn, the field just stands at 38. Now, it's not getting cut down to 20, 19, whatever. It's if you play in the Century Tournament Champions, you are guaranteed 4 rounds, unless you're Xander and you withdraw. But that looks to be your answer, Awaken. He has been the worst off the tee today. I say worst, I mean, yes, Seb Straka is 39th, but Xander withdrew, so there's only 38 players in the field. So, I mean, Sung Jae has been terrible off the tee and not doing anything on the greens. That's not a good combination. His irons are still there. His irons are just fine. What's the birdies and bogeys and all that looking like for him? And Sung Jae. No eagles. Yeah. This was my issue. This was my worry for Sung Jae coming into this. He is not a birdie getter. He's a bogey avoider, which in majors, in really difficult conditions, is fantastic. But in a tournament that yields consistently mid to upper 20, negative 20 winners and scores, it's just not going to cut it. You have to be able to go low. So that was my concern with Sung Jae coming in. Was him just not birdieing enough. Looks like he's been fine on distance. This is just around. Let's look at all of it in totality. Sung Jae. I mean, he's been middle of the pack in distance is fine. Greens are fine. Doesn't look like he scrambled too well. Yeah, 1 for 4. But I mean, okay, he's not hitting a whole lot of fairways either, and these fairways are pretty easy to hit. So, But if you're 9th in greens, you would think you would make enough putts to keep you around. But that's what I'm seeing is not nearly good enough putting to go with the poor off the tee weekend he's had, particularly today. I mean, yeah, look at that total putting. He is second to last for both days. So not only was he bad today, he was bad yesterday too. So hopefully that answers that question for you, Awaken. He might be, Sanjay might be somebody to target. Let's see, Morikawa and Spawn are on 14, so we got maybe, 45 so minutes to go. Rahm's got it all the way to -2 after starting bogey. Good for me. Fitzpatrick's playing well. Tom Kim -2. Boy, I'd really like if Power could birdie. Oh, great. Well, he just finished his round on par. Awesome. Good job, Seamus. Oh, well. He's played well. Awaken, how are your lineups doing? Full week lineups looking like? Hopefully you played quite a bit of Spawn, because that was one heck of a shout out there. Good call by Awaken. All right. I suppose I could update this every so often, so I'm going to start grabbing some of these statistics here. All right. So bear with me as I gather and organize this the way I need to for myself. This is week off the tee week. This one, I only played one lineup. Had Rahm, JT, Morikawa, M, Spawn, and Brim. You know what? That lineup is. I'd imagine that lineup should be doing okay. Because Morikawa it's not too widely owned. I don't think, is he? I'm gonna have to cheat and see. I don't think he's all that widely owned. And I'm just going to look at the big $20 entry one, the season tee off. Yeah, I mean 17.5% really isn't a whole lot when you consider, the small field. So now Rahm is the most highly owned, 38.5. JT's always popular. He's more popular than I thought. 32. Sung Jae was 31%. So I mean, you got a lot of chalk there with Rahm, Justin Thomas, Sung Jae. Normally good plays, but Thomas and Sung Jae haven't played well so far. Morikawa has been good at 17%, and then Spawn was 12.5%, and you're making out like a bandit there. I would guess to fathom that lineup should be doing okay. I would think. Okay. Now. Off the tee difference, approach difference, and putt difference. Like I said, apologies. Let me get this sorted or organized in the way that I like to have it. So let's see, if he is first, I want D minus J. Because he's 6, yeah, he's 6 better than what normally he is. That's what I want. Okay. Damn it. D, this is E to K. And F to L. Okay. Sorry, you are seeing the math nerd at his nerdiness. Alright. We'll remove Xander. And like I said, we might have to update these statistics a little bit throughout the show once players get finished with their rounds and whatnot. I'm going to hide these columns so it's less confusing. But one of the first things that I like to do, especially in Showdown content, is who's overperformed and underperformed their putting. So I'm going to sort this on putting difference, which is column P. Damn it. Smallest to largest. So it's saying, like, Sam Burns, who's the #1 putter on Bermuda, has had some of the worst putting this weekend. And that makes a lot of sense. I'll just double check it. So it's saying that he should be 35th so far. Sam Burns, putting. Well, that's saying he's 9th. What the hell's going on here? Something didn't go right. Oh, you idiot, Nick. Alright, so this is why I double check. Alright, so this is D and J. This needs to be E to K. That could have been bad. And then this is F to L. D to J, F, E to K, F to L. There we go. So now Sandburn should be -8. What? Sam Burns is not 35th. He's 9th. This is why I get frustrated when the computer doesn't cooperate. So apologies. Thank you for being patient. Alright, everything matches there. So what I want off the tee, D, E, F. Sam Burns. What the hell? Okay. So, oh, that's why. Because I have Tom Kim, Ji-Hyun Kim down here. That's the issue. There we go. Apologies. Nick was a dumbass. Alright. There we go. There's that. Approach. There's that. Putting. There's that. So, oh great, now Aaron Wise is, what the deuce. Player, A to Z. Try this one more time. Wise. And then now Sandburn should be -8. Thank you. There we go. All right. Now I will set these. Hide the columns. And now maybe we're finally ready. I'm finally ready. You all have been patiently waiting. Okay. Now if I sort on the putting difference, just column P, now we'll see who is over and underperformed. So the worst putter right now compared to his baseline has been Sepp Straka. But you see, normally he's not a very good iron player, and he's been crushing his irons. So that, to me, is, you know, kind of offsetting each other. And he's never been good off the tee. Adam Scott has been very, very poor with the putter so far. Very poor with the putter. I'll highlight anybody here in that, and then anybody excessive gets the warning treatment. We'll say orange. Let's see. Svensson has not performed well in regards to his putting metrics. Interesting to see Brian Harman hasn't putt well either. And he's played particularly well. He is only three better with his irons. So there's a name for you. But a lot of times this is where I start. I see who has drastically underperformed their putting metrics and who has generally been pretty good with the irons, especially this week. Sepp Straka has been really good with the irons this week, although he's not usually. Svensson's been very good with the irons. He is 7th on the week in iron play. So let me bring these two together and we'll have some side-by-side comparisons here. Yeah, like Adam Svensson, 7th in irons, but he has not putt well, and he's generally a pretty good putter on Bermuda. He's not all-star, but he's generally not bad. So there's a name, and I mean, again, I know I've been talking about him all week, but this is why I've been talking about him. Because he generally performs well on Bermuda greens, and he hasn't. Although that could be a reason, sure. Brian Harman, 30th this week in putting, normally 6th. He's top 12 right now in irons. Okay. That's another name for you. Sungjae's normally number 2 in the wind. Interesting to see Sungjae's normally the number 1 player off the tee when it's easy. Yet this week, he is 22nd off the tee. He's having a really bad week off the tee, but he's still number 5 in his irons. And has been atrocious putting. Sungjae looks like he would be an absolute all-star or a very, very safe bet to improve on this weekend, particularly tomorrow since it's supposed to be the windiest of the days. Now, I'm not going to highlight Mackenzie Hughes. Yes, he is severely underperformed his putting, but he's generally not a good iron player, and he's only overperformed it a little bit. He's never been good off the tee, and he's overperforming that a little bit. He's generally not good in the wind. So, as much as Mackenzie Hughes probably should improve putting-wise, I think there's enough risk there that you don't take that chance. Like John Rahm has drastically overperformed his putting. He's the second best putter right now at the tournament. And again, I'll update this periodically, but he's the number 2 putter this week so far. He's not the second best putter in this field. And look at the irons. The irons have been really bad. Like John Rahm looks like he's a good candidate to fade for the weekend. Scheffler, decent in the wind, I suppose. 12th. He is underperformed somewhat. Okay. Like JT's actually overperformed his putting But he's been pretty bad with the irons and atrocious off the tee. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about JT. I don't think I like it at the moment. Morikawa, absolute fade. Absolute fade. I mean, he's normally the 36th best putter among these 38 or 39. He's first. I think it's safe to say we know that Colin Morikawa is not the best putter in this field. Victor. 35th off the tee. Oof. And 8th in putting. So he is having a very un-Victor-like tournament where he is putting well, not driving the ball well. Interesting, I suppose. Let's see some of these other big outliers here. Like Jordan Spieth looks like he has been... Spieth looks like a humongous outlier to me. Let's look at some of these scrambling numbers here. Spieth, yeah, he's 7th in scrambling, 5 for 6. He's number 1 in sand saves, 5 for 5. How much of the tournament did you watch? Pretty much all of it, especially today. Now, last night I wasn't able to watch the last maybe couple hours because Thursday night I always have bowling. But I watched, majority of it, and I watched pretty much all of it today. Ask about your bowling. You can ask. The answer is not going to be good. It wasn't great. I don't know what it is. I think I need a new bowling ball, to be honest. But it is so far down on the list of my priorities. But as a team, we won. So let's see. Like Will Z, even though he's normally the 21st best putter, he is 10th right now. He was the best iron player in 2022. Now he's 32nd. Yeah. I don't know how I feel about that. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that. Ugh. Let's see. What are some other potential good values here? Aaron Wise? Normally 6th in Bermuda putting. Right now he's 23rd. But he's hitting his irons well. He hasn't been fantastic off the tee, but he's been good enough, it looks like. Aaron Wise is kind of interesting. Okay. I don't hate the idea of Aaron Wise. Particularly if the putting improves, which I think it should, from 23rd. And he's good in the wind. Let's see. We talked about Mackenzie Hughes. I'm just not there with Mac. Looks like he came back down to earth a little bit today. Because what did you shoot? You shot 6 or 7 under yesterday. So, Showdown contests look better than the end of season ones. Yeah, I mean, It's what you get. You're going to get much better fields. And it's hard to say because I mean this is a no cut event. So if you're wanting to compare this Showdown slate, this Showdown contest to one in the fall, you'd have to look at the CJ Cup because that was the only no cut Showdown that I did. Was the CJ Cup because I don't think I was doing Showdown for the Zozo. I might have, but I don't remember it. Let's see. Hoagie. What's he done with his... Like, Hoagie's been the number one... No. Oh, he's 6 higher. Yeah, that should be... Wait, are these backwards now? So John Rahm has been the second best putter off the tee. He's third. -5, that means he would be 8th? Yeah. So how in the world is Tom Hoagie... He should be 13th. Or no, it's saying you should be first in approach. That's not what it is. It's Scotty Scheffler that's first. Okay, he's just tied for... Okay. So yeah, Hoagie's been overperforming. A little bit. Don't think I want any part of Tom Hoagie. Man, Billy Horschel's just really, really struggled. Can I really recommend Billy Horschel? I don't think so. He's been worse off the tee, but he's actually hit his irons better than he normally does. Like, the putting should improve. Sure. But, like, what else has... Like, Billy, I don't think has particularly played this event well anyway. Billy Horschel. Yeah, he's never been a good... He's just never played well here. So that would give me a lot of pause on Billy. That's fine. Okay, I can believe that. So no on Billy. Keegan, E. Like, K.H. Lee has been the 4th best putter here. So no thanks on K.H. Lee. Adam Scott's the #1 player this week off the tee. Okay. But his irons have been trash. No, they haven't. They're 16th. Apologies. Adam Scott. '16th in irons. He's normally 28th. Okay. Adam Scott's somebody to look at. Connors looks like he's overperformed. Where's Connors? Oh my, he's jumped way up here. Like, Connors has been solid all week. Like, putting wise, he's not this good. not this good at all. But he's not this bad with the irons. You're doing full weekend or Saturday and so this for my best, James, has been weekend, full weekend, just because I don't have to worry about positioning. I don't have to worry about, where they've been, as they're fifth right now, and trying to project where they'll be at the end of it. I just want to, I'm at my best. I do my best when I say, all right, this person should improve versus not. Like Luke List, I would want no part of Luke List. He is drastically overperforming his putting. Drastically overperforming his putting. So I'll just highlight him in red. I don't want any part of that. Honestly, as much as Ryan Brim has struggled, where is Ryan Brim? He's not too far up on the leaderboard. Yeah, -7. He's overperformed. Don't want any part of him. I don't want any part of Morikawa. Everything says that he should regress based on the putting. He's normally the 36th best putter. He's number 1 this week. No thank you. That just screams come back down to earth. For the same matter, Rahm. Rahm's the same. Rahm's been the 2nd best putter essentially this week. And yet the irons have been atrocious. So I don't like that combination for Jon Rahm. Tom Kim here, look at that, 30th in putting. Normally on Bermuda he's 16th. So these are getting updated as we're going through it. Okay. So I'm actually, you know what? I'm gonna unhide all of these. I'm going to uncolor coordinate this. I'm just going to hide all these columns, and then when everybody's done, that's pretty neat. I didn't even realize that this specific page view updates continuously. That's another reason why Fantasy National is just amazing. Is the fonts and such good enough? Are you able to see? I'm sure the Fantasy National might be a little scrunched, but is the data viewable, legible? So Tom Kim here looks to be a spicy meatball. I really like what I see from. Okay. Yeah, I know the Fantasy National might be a little bit scrunched. I'll just make sure I talk about them, but like I said with Tom Kim here, I mean, he's not putt very well so far. He's normally, middle of the pack. He's in the bottom probably 20% of the players so far in putting. He's 30th, but his irons are still there this week, 5th. So I like what I see from Tom Kim. Let's see. Spieth looks like he's completely overperformed. He's 19th in putting. So he actually really hadn't putt all that fantastic. But we talked about Spieth a little bit ago. He was number 1 in scrambling. Now it's Spawn that's number 1 in scrambling. There. No. Rahm, Scheffler, Justin Thomas. That'll have to do. Spieth. 7th in scrambling. Okay. So, I mean, he's scrambling. He's number 1 in sand saves. He hasn't hit... He's still struggling to hit fairways. These fairways, even. He's not particularly strong in the wind. I've got some concerns on Jordan Spieth. I'll put him in orange. But I have my concerns about Spieth. Again, with Zalatoris, yes, I mean, he's played 2 rounds. He's gotten through those 2 rounds. I just want to see him get through an entire tournament. Healthy. So if you have a strong feeling about Will Zalatoris, like the putting, he has overperformed his putting, but he has drastically underperformed his irons. So take that what you will. Like I'm just not gonna use Zalatoris. Sam Burns is generally the number 1 putter on Bermuda. He is 8th right now, but everything else this week has been trash. And I mean, just trash. There won't be a way for me to show you all that. He's 38th in approach, so next to last. 36th around the green. 25th off the tee. And he's still 8th in putting. And he is still sucked. I'm just not there with Sam Burns. So as of right now, like it looks like your kind of core here. I really like Sung Jae. I bet he improves this weekend, especially around the putting. I would have to think. Tom Kim seems like a pretty good bet to continue to improve as well. His putting should improve. His irons are right there. Same with Sung Jae's. Like Russell Henley, but the thing is, Russell Henley's not a good putter. Russell Henley's 36th this week in putting. And normally 32nd. So, I mean, he's slightly underperformed it. But by no means by a lot. Mullinax. Trey Mullinax. 33rd. So he's right even with his putting. No thanks. Svensson. We talked about him. If you want to go that route, that should be fine. Because his irons are still there. Scotty Scheffler seems like he's been the number 1 iron player this week. He was number 2 coming in. He's 27th putting on Bermuda at least. 32nd. Like I'm gonna put Scheffler in a very light shade of green. Like he's not overperforming by a whole, or he's not underperforming by a whole lot, but he is technically still underperforming and is in 2nd in the tournament. Spawn has drastically overperformed his putting. He's not good in the wind. He's overplayed his metrics, and it could be a good week, sure, but he's overperformed his metrics, so I would think his his weekend would come back down to earth a little bit. Justin Thomas. One of the worst off the tees. And normally he's fourth off the tee. So, like, I don't think he was terrible today off the tee. I mean, just atrocious. Minus, yeah. But what was he yesterday? I mean, still bad. Minus 0.8. And what was today's? Minus 1.6. There's no way he's minus 1.6 that bad off the tee. There's just no way. But like, he actually gained strokes putting. How many rounds or how many times do you expect Justin Thomas to really be positive in putting? When you think about it, because he was negative 0.9 yesterday. Like, Thomas is shaky for me. Tony Finau, 23rd in putting, so he's had a terrible time putting here. What's he normally done here at Kapalua? He's had a terrible time putting, so okay. So he's right in line with his career at Kapalua. Okay, maybe speed putting, maybe there's something with him and just liking these greens. Because he has putt well here in the past. Okay. So maybe him putting isn't too much of an outlier then. Adam Scott looks like he should improve. I have my hesitations on Henley because he's just not a good putter in general. Reevy's just bad. Olenex, Scheffler, Hoagie. Tagala is normally a decent. Yeah, I mean, he's 20th and 30th this week, and the irons have been good. And normally they're shaky. Might be onto something with Sahith Tagala here. So you're starting to see some of the core here that I'm trying to do. Let's view, freeze those. So if we're going to make some showdown lineups here, and again, this is my focus of weekend golf. This is, round 3 and 4 together with no placement mattering right now. So things could be a little bit different if you're talking just round 3 showdown, but this is weekend that I'm focusing on. But to me, like, my core looks to be like Sung Jae, probably Tom Kim, although I could be talked off of it. Wise and Tagala. If I drop into the 6s, I'll say Adam Scott, which is 10-8. I mean, that's anybody you want. I mean, there's a lineup that is leaving some money on the table, but is what I'm liking. And again, you have to be comfortable going into the 6Ks. You might not be. But I think Adam Scott is a decent bet to improve. if you want to bottom out at, say, what's Scott Stallings done? Stallings. What has he done? 15th in putting. Normally 12th. So underperformed just the slightest bit, but his irons have not been here this week. He's not the best in the wind, so no thanks on Stallings. I don't think I'm anywhere near on Stallings. Hoagie, 31st, 17th, and the irons have been there. He's generally pretty bad off the tee, though, especially when it's easy. Like I'll bottom out at Tom Hoagie just to use a different name than Sahith Theegala, but I mean I'm not in love with this play. But if you don't want to go into the 6Ks, you're looking at something to the effect of probably Tom Hoagie. No, thank you on Mackenzie Hughes. I don't want any part of Mackenzie Hughes. Even though he is not put up to Mackenzie Hughes standards, his irons and his off the tee game are right in line with where they should be, as in not good compared to this field. What's Seamus been? I don't think we've looked at him. Seamus, 8th in putting and 10th this week, so right in line. His irons were 37th coming in, and they're at 36th, so he's playing right in line with his norms right now. Maybe overperforming the off the tee a little bit, but he's generally not good in the wind. But he played okay today. I don't know. I don't mind Seamus Power, so maybe you go something like Hoagie and Power. Oh shit. And this leaves you, quite a bit. You can use Jordan Spieth if you want to, believe in the putting form specifically here at Kapalua, because he's traditionally putt well here at Kapalua. I don't mind that. Now you have, 3 9s. Maybe. What about Fitzpatrick? Fitzpatrick's probably either overperforming or right at it. Yeah, he's right at his 8th this week, 8th coming in on Bermuda. The irons were 31st. He's overperforming his irons slightly. He's underperforming his driving slightly. He's decent in the wind. Like Fitzpatrick seems okay. I'll probably highlight him in green, like Scotty Scheffler. Like you could go Spieth, Fitzpatrick, 94 per. I don't know. Depends on if you want to go into the 10Ks. Like if you want to believe Justin Thomas comes back, so it'd be like Justin Thomas and Tom Kim. You could to me, I think Sungjae needs to be a part of it in some way, form, or fashion. So you're looking at Cantley, who I don't love. Cantley's been 3rd in putting. Yeah, he's overperformed his putting. Been right in line with his irons. Off the tee has been atrocious. That's what's gotten him in trouble. What's his tee to green type stuff? Patrick Cantlay is... Well... Just do it alphabetically. Patrick Cantlay is not hit... He's only hit half the fairways. That's an issue. Not hit many greens. Scrambling. I mean, that's been his issue. If he finds fairways, he's going to improve. But Cantley. Finau. Been fine, I suppose. 17th in fairway, so right at the middle of the pack. Middle of the pack in greens. He scrambled okay. Tony Finau. 23rd in putting. He is 5th this week, so drastically. Oh, I'm sorry, no, he's 5th coming in, 23rd this week, so he's drastically underperformed the putting. Drastically underperformed with his irons. Oof, Tony Finau looks like he might have to be another part of the core. Jeez. So there's another lineup for you. That's leaving 300 on the table, but you're taking a little bit more, what I would say, speculation on Spieth and Fitzpatrick, because Fitzpatrick's never played here. And this seems like it'd be a little bit better of a lineup for like round 3, because Finau is 8th, Fitzpatrick is tied for 6th, Sung Jae's in the top 20, and I think he improves a lot. Spieth, tied for 2nd right now. This might be your Saturday round 3 lineup, but I also think it works for a full weekend. Homa, what's he done? We haven't talked about Max Homa quite a lot. Homa 12th coming in, he's 20th right now, so slightly underperformed. The irons were are 19th coming in, they were 15th, so he's kind of right in line with his norms. Young 22nd and 25th, so right in line. And his irons have been really bad this week. Really bad. He's generally good in the wind, though. I don't know. I just don't see it for Cameron Young. I didn't really see it at all this week for him, really. So Victor, as much as I have a win bet on Victor, he looks like he's overperformed and he's still at the bottom, -7. No thanks there. No thanks on Sepp Straka. No. Connors. He's been playing pretty well. Yeah, he's been pretty solid. So you would expect Connors, you would expect the putting to normalize, to come back down to earth a little bit, but you would expect the irons to get better. What do you do today? Oh. Okay. So he must have put the daylights out yesterday. Not really. 0.9 and negative 0.1. He's just kind of been solid. I don't hate it. I don't hate Connors. Molinax 33rd putting, right in line. The irons haven't been there. He's kind of performed right in line, basically, too. And if you're asking me who I think would be a better who has a better chance of rising the leaderboard between Connors and Mullinex, it's definitely not Mullinex. Poston's just kind of been solid, trudging along. Kind of the same, but he's not the best in the wind. What do you do today? JT Poston. All the way down here. Okay. If you have a feeling about JT Poston, sure. KH Lee. Yeah, KH Lee's been the 4th best putter this week. Coming in, he was 28th on Bermuda. He generally doesn't get a lot of birdies. I just, no, thank you. I think that normalizes. Billy's just struggling altogether. Haven't talked much about Keegan. 16th, 22nd. The irons aren't really there. So, like I said, anybody in green there, especially ones that are bolded and, you know, upped in font, I would make a strong case for this week. For weekend golf. If you want to go crazy and go like a stars and scrubs, see if we can't make this work. I'll go Svensson and Connors. No, actually, you know what? Honestly, it's probably just best Connors and Scott. Just to be honest with you. Although Svensson has drastically underperformed his putting. I don't know. I'll go Svensson because we used Scott once, but you know, whoever you have a strong feeling about, basically it's 2 of those 3. Scott, Connors, and Svensson. Whoever you have a strong feeling about. For this particular lineup, I'll go Connors and Svensson because we used Adam Scott earlier, but you know, mix and match however you feel. But the objective here, if you're using 2 6Ks, obviously is to just jam as much up here as you can. So, you know, you're trying Scotty Scheffler. I'm going to argue that you should use Tony Finau if you want to use Justin Thomas, thinking he comes back a little bit. I understand. I'm going to throw Sungjae in here. I think he is going to improve. And then, you know, to round this out, you're at 8,100. Again, that's Jordan Spieth. If you want to believe in the putting here at Kapalua, if you like what you see from Will Zalatoris, use Will Zalatoris. I'm staying away because I just want to see, you know, a full tournament, maybe even a 2 or 3 tournaments of just health before I assess Will Zalatoris. We haven't really talked about Brian Harmon much. What's he been? He's been really bad with the putter. And the irons are right in line. So he's probably a good candidate as well to improve. So, you know, whether this is, you know, either Jordan Spieth, Brian Harmon, Aaron Wise, however you feel about it, I'm going to use Brian Harmon only because we haven't put him in a lineup yet. But there's another idea of a lineup if you're to get, you know, 2 top guns in there, say Scheffler and Finau, who I think Finau's going to be. I think Finau and Kim are probably going to be my 2 biggest risers, or people that I think will rise. Tagawa I could see rising as well. But there's another idea of a lineup. So if chat wants to throw out some names or get a general feeling on a couple of players, be more than happy to help them out in that way as well. But that's how I'm seeing this week in golf, really. And again, we can update these numbers once the round is completely over. But we got Morikawa, Scheffler, and Spawn. Like Spawn's playing well, but I just don't see it continuing. Ryan Brim. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't like what I see from him. Leaderboard. That one. So, Ryan Brim, he's been really bad with the irons so far. And coming in, he wasn't expected to do much, so he's actually overperforming with the irons. I think I'm getting. You can barely see the highlight for Ryan Brim, but like he's 13th in putting. He's actually gained so far in the week in putting, and he's not a good Bermuda putter in general. I just don't see it, especially since he's been the worst player in the wind in 2022. I just don't see him improving. I think he's played better than what is to be expected. What did he do today? He was... Yeah, it looks like he was pretty bad today. Brim, -2. So we went -5 yesterday. And the wind's going to pick up. And I don't see it. I don't see a Ryan Brim awaken. I don't. If you're really trying to make him work, you're going to use him in... I would suggest you use him in this kind of formation of a lineup. You're using Ryan Brim at the literal minimum at 6K. You're using another 6K guy that you feel strongly about, whether it's Scott or Connors or Svensson, maybe a Henley or whatever. You're using 2 6Ks here. I'll say Adam Scott, and then you're just jamming up top. You're going Scheffler, Thomas, Scheffler, Finau, Thomas, Finau, maybe even a Cam Young if you want to believe in Cam Young, although I don't. But that's the kind of lineup I would use Ryan Brim if you are dead set at using Ryan Brim. I don't see it. He's been hitting fairways, decent enough at the greens. He's 2 for 4 scrambling. Like, nothing here is screaming outlier. He's just, other than the putting. Putting screams outlier in a bad way. So, yeah. Let's see. Any other ideas for a lineup? Is there a way I could make a feasible lineup without Finau or Scheffler or Thomas? I don't think so. Because I really based on what I'm seeing statistically, I like Finau a lot. But if you want to do ultra balanced, and I know I keep typing Ju Young Kim, it's just because of the formulas. Matt Fitzpatrick could be okay. and like you bottom out at what? Tagala maybe? Yeah, I mean this is. Yeah, shoot, you might not even have to bottom out at Tagala. You could maybe. I don't know if this will work. Wise, Harmon. Yeah. Oh yeah. And like maybe Spieth. You can do some sort of ultra balance where Sung Jae's your top. You know, Sung Jae, Tom Kim, Matt Fitzpatrick, you know, Jordan Spieth, maybe Will Zalatoris if you are there. Max Homa, maybe. I don't mind this lineup either. But there's the core, I think. Like Finau, Sung Jae, Brian Harmer or Aaron Wise. Probably, well, I don't know. Wise has really underperformed his putting as well. Where is Aaron Wise? Oh, no. The hell? Like Aaron Wise has been 21st this week. He's generally 6th on Bermuda. The irons have been there. Like, oh, Aaron Wise might be a solid play. He also hasn't scrambled all that much. He's hitting greens. He's hitting fairways. He is number 1 in sand set. Well, he's 1 for 1. Okay. It'd be different if he was like Colin Morikawa 4 for 4 in the sand. He's 1 for 1. Okay. Oh, I like Aaron Wise. But I think that's the core. Damn it. Little I. Sung Jae. Oh gosh, I got quite a bit left after that. Yeah. 77. That's Sam Burns. I'm not there. Need 200 for Brian Harmon. Eh. Uh, 72. Oh shoot! I meant to do Tagala down at the bottom. 77. I'll say Seamus, but like there's another kind of traditional style lineup, I suppose. So those are 5 ideas of lineups that I have for you all for weekend golf. I think if you're looking at just round 3 Showdown, this lineup probably is going to be pretty good, I think. Finau, Sung Jae, Fitzpatrick, Jordan Spieth, Seamus Power, and Tom Hoge. Particularly with the wind. That's supposed to come in. Finau, 4th in the wind in 2022. Sung Jae was number 2. Fitz, number 8. Now, Spieth's only 20th, but again, that's it. Using Spieth is the putting on Kapalua. Seamus Power down here, and then Tom Hoge. I think that's going to be a pretty good round 3 lineup. That one there. Chat got any other questions? Lineup ideas you want to throw out? You want to throw out any predictions? Who you think Morikawa is going to keep the lead and win? How are your wagers looking, if you made any? Mine are shot to hell. Like, these are my DFS teams, so these aren't the wagers, but my wagers you can see on Twitter, those are shot to hell. This team has some potential, for sure. Rahm, Morikawa, Seamus Power, who's been playing well. If I can get Homa and Svensson going, it would be nice. Oh, shoot. Homa and Svensson. Yeah, I mean, especially Svensson. He's really underperformed. I really thought he was going to be pretty good this week. Homa hadn't played terrible, I guess. -3. It's just not enough. Hovland played well yesterday. He didn't play well today. Henley's been okay, I suppose. List. Morikawa's about to do, looking like a -9, -7, or -8. Goodness gracious. Scheffler's played well. So I think that's all I have for you all in terms of Showdown. Those are the players that I'm going to be playing in Showdown. Weekend golf, I should say. I know there are two different things, but for this weekend. Do I have any wagers still open? I mean, technically, yes. I mean, Hovland's not going to win, so that's a loss. I do have my FOMO ticket on Aaron Wise. So he is, what, 6 shots back? It's not unheard of to make up. You can do it. So have that FOMO. But my parlays are shot thanks to Xander. And then I have a top 10 on Svensson. So if he can get, I just need him to have one good round. I mean, he's only 5 shots back of 10th right now, or 8th technically. So he's still got a chance. Corey Connors a pleasant surprise. Yeah, I like Connors. I do. Connors was somebody I'm very, very high on full season. I took him in my salary league team. So I've got a few players playing this week in my salary league team. My team's headlined with John Rahm. I talked about him in my salary preview show. He had a down year by John Rahm standards. I see him winning a major and probably another tournament this year. I think he wins twice, and that's one of the bolder predictions, I guess, that I'm saying. Because I've got Rahm winning twice this year. That team also has Connors. It has Tagala, and I took Tagala because he played a bunch. Now, if he backs off from his schedule last year, that's going to hurt a little bit. But, I mean, the dude just plays a bunch. So, I took him. I thought he was good value in a salary league. I took Svensson. Again, this was based on last year's earnings. So, his RSM win didn't count toward his salary. So he's in all the big tournaments. So I'm feeling pretty good about my salary league team. But yes, Connors has been a decent little surprise this week. He's only been here once. I mean, it wasn't a terrible performance. He did top 20, but top 20 in a 40-player field is essentially field average. And he's doing Corey Connors things. He was all in strokes gained approach. He didn't putt well that week that he played. And then, this week he's overperformed it a little bit. But, nothing drastic, I would say. He's putt better than you would think, but he hasn't hit his irons as well as you would think. So I think that evens out. So that's a good mention there, Awaken. Corey Connors has played pretty well. Pretty well. Yep, I think that is what I have for you all. Let me know in the comments of this video or on social media how your weekend golf goes. I hope to be able to shout you all out at the beginning of the week. On Sunday evening with some winners for the Sony, our first full field event for 2023. So looking forward to that. That field is already out. I don't think... Oh, look at that. So Fantasy National does have the Sony Open field loaded already. Look at that. So let's see. Let's just do a very, very crude quick look. And see what we got. I want the beginning of the fall. So from the fall forward, Taylor Montgomery, Brian Harmon, Mackenzie Hughes, Tom Kim, Patrick Rogers, Matt McNeely, Putnam, Keegan, Tom Hoagie, Grayson Sigg, Will Gordon, somebody who's probably not fit for the Sony Open, but I think is going to have a pretty good year on the PGA Tour. I mentioned Hayden Buckley. Pretty high on Hayden Buckley. I bet this probably might be a decent fit for Hayden Buckley, so I think he would probably make some noise here. A pretty good field for the Sony Open. You got quite a few of the Tournament of Champions guys playing. So looking forward to that. All right, guys. I think that is going to be it for tonight. Thanks for tuning in and watching. I always appreciate it. Joining in chat. Thanks for being patient. Like I said, I had pretty poor planning on my part to make it at 8 instead of 9. We had to wait around for a little while, but hopefully it was entertaining enough. Just a reminder, Sunday evening will be the Sony Initial Research Show. So reach out on social media if you have any other questions pertaining to weekend showdown or round 3, round 4, all that good stuff. But for all of the wagers and all of your contests, full week and showdown for the Tournament of Champions, may they all be profitable. Have a good weekend.